Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
A $150 million decision is looming for Livonia voters as both sides make their final push before next month's bond votes. So opponents of the bond are gathering outside City Hall tonight, urging residents to vote no on that proposal that would build a new police station and a new library. Thanks for being with us at 6. I'm Ty Steele.
I'm Kimberly Gill. The plan would cost the average homeowner about $12 a month for the next 25 years. Local 4's Will Jones is live in Livonia with both sides of this debate. Will.
Kimberly and Ty, the Vote No demonstration outside of Livonia City Hall got underway around 5 o'clock, and there is a very small crowd gathered. This demonstration will wrap up around 7 o'clock ahead of the city council meeting, but keep in mind this won't be on the agenda tonight. We spoke to one of the organizers of this demonstration. Why no on this bond proposal?
This bond proposal is just too large for what they want to do.
Livonia resident Jim Biga has been among the most vocal critics of the Livonia built bond proposal that includes building a new police station and library, renovating all fire stations, and creating a Central Park Plaza. The city says the $150 million bond would be paid over 25 years, costing the average homeowner less than $12 per month.
Quite frankly, everybody is, tired of paying more and more in taxes.
Livonia City Councilman Robert Donovan counters that the bond proposal would save taxpayers money in the long run.
The number one thing that's been driving my driving force has been fiscal responsibility, making sure that we stop spending really good tax dollars on bad buildings that are built way too long ago and that are not built to today's standards. So I just want the residents to know that your council takes this very seriously.
Livonia resident Brian Quinn supports the proposal, citing potential benefits for the community and home values.
I think is good to invest in the city. We also live in proximity to where the proposed development would be, and I feel like it's going to be an increase in my home value.
This bond proposal is phase 3 of a 4-phase project to revitalize this civic center area, and again, voters will weigh in on this bond proposal on August 5th. We're live in Livonia. Will Jones, Local 4.
And we will be following it to see how this turns out. Will, thank you.
A troubling surge in youth violence has Detroit leaders taking action tonight. So a toddler is among 6 young people shot in the city just this weekend, and now police are rolling out what they're calling the toughest curfew crackdown in Detroit's history. Pamela, you went to that East Side neighborhood where a 2-year-old was shot just watching fireworks in front of his home. What do residents there think about that curfew?
Well, Ty, I spoke to 3 people, and they all are hopeful that that curfew will help keep things like this from happening again. I have to tell you, one of the people I spoke to said flat out they were afraid to talk on camera because they were worried about this very violence that police are trying to prevent.
The enforcement of curfew citywide and stepping that up can definitely save lives.
Over the weekend, 6 young people were shot in the city of Detroit. The youngest victim, a 2-year-old boy watching fireworks with his family outside of his Marion Street home Saturday night. The bullet came from a nearby park where a fight broke out among a large gathering of teens.
22 shell casings were in the park where they were, from multiple guns. They arrested people for curfew violations as young as 14 years old.
It is not an isolated incident. There have been a total of 20 shootings involving minors in the city over the past month alone, the majority of them happening after curfew.
We are going to do a level of curfew enforcement this city has not seen before.
Mayor Mike Duggan has authorized police overtime so that these mobile field enforcement units can stay out until 5 a.m. or later to round up groups of minors who are out past curfew. So what happens to kids when they get picked up?
The purpose of the vans is to be able to transport our young folks and to places where they can be processed at various centers that we identify, and then we'll call their parents, and when their parents arrive to pick them up, that's when they'll be issued a parental responsibility citation.
Parents will be fined. Mayor Mike Duggan is calling on City Council to up the penalty for first and second offenses from $75 and $100 to $250 and $500. They're also calling on state lawmakers. They would like for the Senate here to pass the Public Safety Trust Fund legislation that would allow them to expand violence prevention programs right here in the city of Detroit. As for that curfew, if you're wondering what it is, if you're 15 years old, you have to be in by 10 o'clock. If you're 16 or 17, that's 11 o'clock, unless, of course, you're accompanied by a parent or a responsible adult. Reporting live outside of DPD headquarters, I'm Pamela Osborne, Local 4.
All right, Pamela, thanks. Now we go to a Local 4 news update. A teen is in custody in connection to a shooting before the Ford fireworks show. Alfonso Cooper Jr. was arrested this afternoon at a home in Washtenaw County. Police say the shooting was allegedly over a $200 debt. A 17-year-old boy and a 22-year-old woman were hit. Both are expected to recover. The Wayne County prosecutor is reviewing possible charges.
We're learning a lot more. Southfield, 22-year-old Blake Herring from Dearborn Heights is charged with bank robbery and assault with intent to murder. Chief Elvin Barron showed video today which he says shows Herring entering the PNC Bank on Northwestern Highway and hitting a female employee in the head with a hatchet purchased 2 hours earlier at Meijer. Chief Barron says store surveillance video from Meijer actually shows Herring in the aisle of the store taking what the chief calls several practice swings with that hatchet.
The audacity to strike a victim, didn't even give her a chance to comply. You saw in the video, the person walks right into the bank, immediately strikes the female victim in the head, with, we believe, again, trying to get the other employees to be fearful, to act quickly to provide the money that was demanded.
The woman who was attacked has returned home after spending several days in the hospital.
President Trump is taking aim at 7 nations with steep new tariffs, including major U.S. trading partners Japan and South Korea. The president announced a 25% tax on imported goods from these countries set to begin August 1st. Economists warn these moves could slow economic growth and possibly increase the risk of a recession.
Hundreds of nurses and other workers at McLaren-Macomb Hospital have walked off the job. Hospital workers are picketing against the hospital as part of a planned 3-day unfair labor practice strike. The union says it is fighting for a fair wage and wants the facility to be fully staffed. The strike involves 700 workers, including nurses and medical lab technicians. McLaren told us this, quote, "The union's decision to take its members on strike is a truly regrettable development, considering the hospital put forth an offer that includes a wage increase that creates a market-leading compensation package," end quote. Workers we spoke with say they're committed to what they're fighting for.
We have one goal here, and is to fight for our patient safety and our nurses' safety. This is a long-term fight for the dignity and safety of our nurses and of our patients. We are here because of that. We are here because of our community.
The demonstration is set to last 2 more days, but those staff members won't be back on the job until next week. They're effectively locked out. McLaren says it had to commit to paying replacement nurses for at least 5 days.
Devastating floods continue to grip central Texas as the death toll climbs.
The numbers are staggering. 95 people dead across 6 counties. Kirk County seeing the worst of it. 75 lives lost there alone. And at Camp Mystic, 27 campers and counselors killed in that flash flooding. And the danger isn't over. A flood watch remains in effect until 7 tonight. Bill Spencer from our sister station KPRC in Houston joins us now with a look at search and recovery efforts.
Yes, we are in the town of Ingram, about a quarter of a mile from the Guadalupe River, and this is where search and rescue groups from all over the state of Texas have been staging for several days now. Among them, Texas EquiSearch, led by Tim Miller. That is the Houston-based search and rescue operation, and they have been working very hard for days now.
Take them over down to the river crossing and come back and get some more. You got plenty of water.
Outside the town of Ingram this afternoon, members of Texas EquiSearch mount up again in their all-terrain vehicle. They're also on foot, making their way on day 3 of this desperate mission to find survivors of this historic, heartbreaking flood. Using crude wooden sticks, they walk through huge piles of debris along the Guadalupe River, poking and searching through every one of these large piles of ripped up trees and vegetation, looking for victims who could be trapped inside, but possibly still alive.
We're crossing the river here with heavy equipment, and our volunteers will surround the heavy equipment as we dismantle brush piles. The brush piles out in that river are 30 and 40 foot tall.
Okay, so the objective here for these search and rescue people, they are with Texas EquiSearch, is to go through all of these giant piles of debris, and these are all up and down the riverbank. What they're looking for are obviously people, both alive and dead. And it is as I've been told by these people, it can be a very sad, a very disappointing job. The work is dirty and depressing, and most of what the EquiSearch members have found so far are dead bodies. But they will press on for many more days to come in the hopes that they'll be able to rescue just a few of the victims. Yes, it is literally impossible to describe just how emotionally difficult this search and rescue work can be, especially in a disaster the size of this one. Tim Miller with Texas EquiSearch told me that every morning before he sends his people out, he has a talk with them. He tells them they have to be physically ready for the rigors ahead, but more importantly, they have to be emotionally ready for what they will face. In Ingram, Bill Spencer, KPRC 2 News.
Thanks, Bill. And now with more on the current conditions in Texas as well as things here at home, let's get it over to former meteorologist Kim Adams for the very latest.
Yeah, and our heart certainly breaks for what they're dealing with in Texas. Every time I hear about the camp there, it's heartbreaking.
I know, it's heartbreaking, especially when you've got kids, people here dropping their kids off at camp and things like that. So it's heartbreaking. Unfortunately, they're still getting some rain in parts of Texas, and parts of that river still getting rain right now. We've been watching an area of rain northwest of Kerrville. So that Kerrville's right here. It's dry there right now. The rain has been off to the northwest, and there are flood warnings, though, in multiple areas. These little green boxes you see, several of those, because this rain has been kind of sitting here as I've watched it on the radar. I was hoping it would just move, but it's not. So it's just dumping rain, and the air is saturated. If you've ever been to Texas, you know how humid it is. So it doesn't take much, and there's just a tipping point where the air can only hold so much water, and it just dumps. Past 7 days, they've had about close to 2 feet of water, 23.2 inches right along that Guadalupe River. For us, we're breaking a very warm stretch of weather. This is the first day we have not hit 80 in 17 days. So it's definitely been a hot summer around here. And the next 7 days, we do heat up a little, but nothing like the 90s we had last week. We'll talk more about some storms for Wednesday coming up.